So usually a revenge game is supposed to be this, I don't know, this cinematic display of dominance.
Oh, absolutely.
You know what I mean? You run out of the tunnel, the crowd is just screaming, and you just physically impose your will on the team that embarrassed you last time.
Right. It's built up as this cathartic release, like right from the opening kickoff.
Exactly.
The expectation is always that you want to just erase the memory of last year's, that muddy, miserable defeat in the rain. You just want to blow the opponent out of the water early.
But, well, when you step into the reality of high-stakes championship-level football, that cinematic script often gets totally flipped.
Yeah, it really does.
And today, we are doing a deep dive into a pivotal SBC championship matchup against Arkansas State that is just, I mean, it is the textbook definition of a trap game.
For sure.
Our source material today is a breakdown from a YouTube video by the creator THF El Jefe, and it's titled Championship or Stuck.
It's a great video.
It really is.
Yeah.
And what makes this deep dive fascinating for you listening is that, yes, we are analyzing a highly detailed collegiate football gaming simulation. But the way this creator manages his program, how he makes in-game adjustments, and handles player psychology, I mean, it mirrors real-world coaching masterclasses.
It's incredible to watch, honestly.
Yeah. So we're going to explore how this team survived a just chaotic ambush to look terrifying heading into a college football playoff clash against Ole Miss.
Yeah. And the environmental stakes for this championship game are just perfect.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it is a home game. The temperature is sitting at a crisp 50 degrees with zero wind.
Like perfect football weather.
Exactly. It's the ideal setting for a team that really prides itself on execution.
And the home team comes into this game operating with a very balanced, 50-50 offensive philosophy. They want to run the ball, to set the pass, control the tempo, and just let their defense go to work.
Yep.
And they're backed by the #1 ranked defense in the entire nation, which, by the way, is a jump up from their top 5 ranking the previous year.
Yeah, they have built a program with an incredibly high floor.
Yeah.
But on the opposing sideline, Arkansas State brings this completely divergent philosophy. I mean, they operate on an extreme spectrum, passing the ball 81% of the time.
Which is wild, because when I see a stat like that, my initial thought is, okay, the #1 defense in the nation is going to feast.
You would think so.
Right, like a predictable offense should be easy to dismantle. But the first quarter just turns into an absolute nightmare.
It really does.
The defense is completely torched. They give up 120 passing yards almost instantly, while only allowing 5 rushing yards. Like, well, for you listening, it's like studying all night for a math test, and the first question is in French.
That's a great way to put it.
How does the #1 defense in the nation get completely stunned on their home turf like that?
So, the mechanics of an extreme offensive scheme can actually short-circuit even an elite defense.
Really?
Yeah, because a unit built to handle a balanced 50-50 attack spends the first, half second of every single play diagnosing whether it is a run or a pass.
Okay.
Their initial reads, their footwork, their gap integrity, it is all calibrated for that split-second decision. But when an offense passes 81% of the time, they bypass that diagnostic phase entirely.
Oh, wow.
They are attacking the secondary while the linebackers are, still processing the snap.
That makes so much sense, because there is one specific play in that first quarter that really highlights how chaotic this gets.
Oh, the pick route.
Yes. Arkansas State runs this pick route, and it completely scrambles the defensive assignment.
Yeah.
A linebacker gets caught in the traffic. He literally physically falls over on the cut, and suddenly, at the end of the first quarter, the top defense in the country is staring at a 7-0 deficit.
Yeah, it's tough to watch.
I just struggle to understand how a disciplined unit gets structurally dismantled on their own turf that quickly. I mean, it feels like they should be prepared for basic passing concepts, right?
Well, a pick route is essentially basketball on grass.
Okay, I like that.
The offense uses their own receivers as moving screens. The goal isn't necessarily for the crossing receiver to get the ball. The goal is to intentionally cross paths with a trailing defender.
Right, to rub them out of the play.
Exactly. Forcing that defender to either alter his pursuit angle or collide with another body. If a linebacker gets caught in that wash and loses his footing, like we saw,
Yeah.
the structural integrity of that entire zone collapses in a fraction of a second.
Wow.
It forces defensive backs to play perfectly in space, and honestly, it usually takes a full quarter for a defensive coordinator to recalibrate the secondary's leverage, and get the players to trust their eyes again.
Which is exactly what happened here.
Mm.
And when a defense is reeling like that, the instinct is often to, blitz more or radically change coverages to stop the bleeding. But the actual solution this coach implemented to stop the pass had nothing to do with the defense at all.
Nope.
The counterattack came entirely from offensive clock control.
Because keeping a red-hot opposing offense standing on the sidelines with their helmets off is honestly the most effective defensive adjustment in football.
It really is. They leaned into this brutal, suffocating rushing attack that just completely took over the momentum of the game.
Yeah, they did.
The starting running back, Deshaun Rear, put together a defining performance. 23 carries.
Yeah.
201 yards. That translates to an 8.7-yard average per carry, and he punched in 2 touchdowns.
And you have to think about the physical toll that takes on an opposing defense. It is immense.
Oh, absolutely.
When you run the ball with that kind of efficiency, you are dictating the terms of the game. You're shrinking the clock and minimizing the number of possessions Arkansas State gets to utilize that crazy 81% passing attack.
And he had solid support, too. The backup, Delon Alexander, added another 66 yards on 14 attempts.
Right.
Though the coach made an interesting note about Alexander. He mentioned he has a, quote, pro-potential deal breaker and might end up transferring because the current offensive system doesn't meet his specific requirements for professional development.
Yeah, the transfer portal is always looming.
It really is. But focusing back on Rear, his massive gain leads to one of the most fascinating psychological decisions of the entire season.
The milestone management.
Yes. So Rear crosses the 200-yard mark for this specific championship game, right?
Yeah.
But if you zoom out to his season totals, he finishes the game with 1,998 rushing yards for the year.
It's agonizing.
He is exactly 2 yards shy of a 2,000-yard season.
And 2,000 yards is a mythical number for a running back.
For sure.
It etches your name in the record books and changes how scouts evaluate your endurance, everything.
And he is literally 1 carry away. But the coach pulls him from the game. He benches his star player 2 yards short of the milestone, purely to keep him healthy for the upcoming playoffs against Ole Miss.
Yep.
The coach's public comment was, whether you like it or not, that's over with.
Yeah.
That requires a stunning level of emotional detachment.
It really does. It demonstrates this ruthless prioritization of the collective goal over individual glory.
Right.
Because a lesser coach might have let him run, just a simple dive play just to get the 2 yards.
Just fall forward.
Exactly. But you risk a season-ending injury in a game you are already controlling.
Wow, yeah.
Pulling him sends a clear message to the entire locker room. The only metric we care about is winning a national championship.
And that focus on standard setting gets even more complex when we look at the guys blocking for Rear.
Oh, the offensive line?
Yeah. If I'm evaluating an offensive line and they paved the way for over 250 total rushing yards, my instinct is to reward them.
Naturally.
Especially when you look at the raw block statistics.
Because the pancake numbers for this unit were just staggering.
Right. And for those of you listening, a pancake is when an offensive lineman blocks a defender with so much force, they literally flatten them onto their back.
It's the ultimate O-line flex.
It really is.
Yeah.
And this team accumulated an incredible 57 combined pancakes.
57.
Left tackle Jawan Bailey, Dominique Rejos, and Gabe Jones all recorded 13 each.
Yeah.
Jackson Cole and Jason Mazak each tallied 10. Alex Gonzalez added 8. And the entire line only allowed a single sack the whole game.
So on paper, that looks like an absolute clinic in physical domination.
It does.
Huh.
But the coach came out of this game insisting this offensive line is going to be heavily overhauled in the transfer portal next year.
Yeah, he was not happy.
He described their early blocking as nasty, and he meant that in a negative way.
Right.
I find this paradox so confusing. Having 57 pancake blocks but worrying about a few early missed assignments. It's like building a skyscraper with gold-plated windows, but complaining about a scratch on the lobby floor.
That's a good analogy, actually.
The gold is still there. So if I'm opening a diner and my chefs are serving up that many pancakes, I'm keeping them. Why blow up a unit that dominated the stat sheet? Is it like firing your head chef because he dropped one fork?
Well, your skyscraper analogy actually proves the coach's point, but
Okay.
you have to look at the foundation, not the windows.
Okay, lay it on me.
The early missed assignments are a cracked foundation. The coach specifically singled out Jason Mazak.
Right, who had 10 pancakes.
Exactly. Despite finishing with 10 pancakes, Mazak looked like he, and I quote, wasn't blocking anything during that messy first quarter.
Wow.
Pancakes are a vanity metric if they are bookended by catastrophic mental errors.
Because a mental error leads to a free rusher.
Yes. And in a conference championship against a lesser opponent, you can survive a blown assignment. You know, the quarterback might have time to scramble.
Right.
But this coach is evaluating his roster against the standard of Ole Miss and the SEC defensive lines they're about to face in the playoffs.
Which is a whole different beast.
Completely different. If you miss a first quarter assignment against an elite playoff defense, your quarterback doesn't just get sacked, he gets injured, and your season ends.
Man.
The floor of how bad your mistakes are matters far more than the ceiling of how many players you can flatten.
That completely reframes the entire first quarter.
Yeah.
It isn't just about surviving. It's about exposing the weak points before you face a true heavyweight.
Exactly.
And speaking of surviving, once the run game established that brutal consistency, the #1 defense finally caught their breath and showed why they hold that ranking.
Yeah, the calibration process finally clicked into place.
They went from giving up 120 passing yards in a flash to only allowing about 50 more passing yards for the rest of the entire game.
It's an insane turnaround.
Arkansas State finished with just 171 total yards through the air. The home team went on a massive 28-point unanswered run to win the championship, 28-7.
And the tactical shift there really involves disrupting the timing of that pass-heavy offense.
Okay, how so?
Well, when a team relies on quick passing, they need their receivers to hit specific depths at specific times.
Right.
The defense likely started pressing the receivers at the line of scrimmage, which throws that rhythm off by just, half a second, and that allows the pass rush to finally get home.
And the playmakers definitely took advantage of that extra half second. Jerry Sprout anchored the secondary with 3 solo tackles, 2 pass deflections, and a forced fumble.
Huge game for him.
Marcellus Pullum lived in the backfield, generating 3 tackles for loss and a sack. Sean Foster grabbed an interception, and Azriel Justy, a player the coach highlighted as a massive riser in the back half of the season, he also secured a pick.
Yeah, the secondary really stepped up.
Plus, Big Country was credited for generating constant, massive pressure off the edge, even if it didn't translate directly into raw sacks.
But that's the thing. Constant pressure forces a quarterback to speed up his internal clock.
Right.
He starts processing the field faster than his brain can actually verify the information, and that's what leads to mistakes.
That brings up a fascinating moment regarding quarterback processing, actually. But it happened on the other side of the ball.
Oh, Snipes' interception.
Yes. The home quarterback, Snipe, had a very efficient game overall. He finished 14 of 22 for 131 yards and a touchdown.
Solid numbers.
But late in the game, he threw an interception to an Arkansas State defender that completely defied the geometry of zone coverage.
Yeah, the legendary 3-zone read.
Looking at the mechanics of this play, Snipe drops back to pass. The Arkansas State defender visibly commits to a shallow underneath route on the left side.
Right.
Snipe registers that movement, mentally checks off that area, and pivots to the middle. But the defender physically stops his momentum mid-commit, sinks back into the middle of the field, and then jumps a pass going the entirely opposite direction.
It's wild.
It shouldn't be physically possible for one player to bait a quarterback across 3 distinct zones like that. It's like a center fielder catching a pop fly in the dugout.
Yeah, it's an incredibly rare defensive read that requires just elite spatial awareness and recovery speed.
I just struggle to see how throwing a logic-defying interception late in a championship game does anything but, shatter a quarterback's confidence right before the playoffs. Why wouldn't that linger in Snipe's head?
Well, because context dictates consequence.
Okay.
If he throws that interception in a tie game, yeah, it might cause panic. But in a game they are already winning handily, it actually serves as the ultimate diagnostic test.
Iron sharpens iron.
Exactly. When a quarterback plays behind a dominant running game, the passing lanes usually open up pretty easily. They can get lazy with their eyes, trusting their arm talent over their actual progression discipline.
They just expect the defense to react predictably.
Right, and when a defender does something entirely unpredictable, covering three zones and baiting an interception like that, it shatters that complacency.
It wakes them up.
It acts as a massive wake-up call for Snipe. It forces him to realize that as they transition into the postseason, the margin for error shrinks to literally zero. He will be checking and rechecking his reads with hypervigilance now, before facing the elite closing speed of that Ole Miss defense.
So all of this adversity, the first quarter trap, the extreme schematic clash, the brutal run game adjustments, and this wake-up call interception, it all serves as the crucible preparing them for the college football playoff.
Everything they experienced against Arkansas State is a building block for that playoff push.
And the confidence radiating from the program is undeniable. Thanks to their resume and this dominant 28-7 finish, they actually secure a higher playoff seed than Ole Miss, earning the right to host the game in their own stadium.
That's a huge advantage.
And the mentality the coach laid out for the upcoming matchup is fierce. He stated, quote, "We ain't sneaking in, we stomping on this."
That language signals a fundamental shift in posture, They aren't just hoping to survive the playoffs, they plan to completely dictate the terms of engagement.
And the blueprint for that game plan is incredibly clear. The coach explicitly noted they're going to need every single running back fully healthy for the Ole Miss matchup.
Hence, benching Rear at 1,998 yards.
Exactly. That explains the heavy rotation and the decision to protect players late in the championship game. They are preparing for a grueling physical street fight in the trenches.
Because a heavy rushing attack in the playoffs wears down a defensive front over 4 quarters, which just makes those late game drives significantly easier to execute.
But, while the coach is plotting this massive tactical battle for the immediate future, he is simultaneously zooming out to engineer the macro-level trajectory of the entire program.
Right, the bigger picture.
Because winning this game means they are now back-to-back SBC champions. And there was a pre-existing deal in place with the athletic director, secured 2 consecutive titles, and the program is officially leaving the SBC to join a, quote, bigger, better conference.
And that introduces a fascinating layer of dual-track leadership.
It does. And managing this dual-track mindset is stressful enough. But there is this wild meta layer to this specific source material.
Oh, the server crash.
Yeah. Because this championship run is happening within a gaming simulation, the creator, THFLFA, is managing the digital program while dealing with real-world technical crises.
It's so stressful.
The server crashed, the footage of the championship game was nearly deleted, and he had to rely on a PlayStation cloud save just to recover the video we are even analyzing today.
Thank goodness for cloud saves.
Right. And he gave massive shout-outs to Big Country Plays, Byron Jackson, and Locked In Gaming coach Jay to celebrate getting through the technical disaster.
It just highlights the unseen chaos happening behind the scenes of content creation and really program building alike.
Well, looking at the coach's dual-track focus, I really have to ask if he is playing with fire here.
How so?
Well, you are a leader. You have a massive heavyweight in Ole Miss coming to your house next week for a winner-go-home playoff game.
Yeah.
Is it dangerous to be openly talking about moving up conferences and overhauling your offensive line in the transfer portal?
I see what you mean.
Doesn't looking at the horizon distract your players from the immediate threat standing in the doorway?
It is a delicate balance, for sure, but it cuts to the heart of what separates, good managers from visionary leaders.
Okay.
Elite leaders manage the micro and the macro simultaneously by utilizing different communication channels for different goals.
Right.
The micro game planning for Ole Miss, managing the running back rotation, fixing the defensive leverage that is about daily survival.
Yeah.
But the macro, the transfer portal, the conference realignment, that is about long-term vision.
Because if you only focus on the micro, you might win the game. But the program eventually stagnates because you aren't recruiting for the future.
Exactly. And if you only focus on the macro, you lose the locker room today because the players feel like you aren't invested in their current season. Ah, I see.
What this coach is demonstrating is the ability to fuse those two tracks together. By talking about a bigger conference while preparing for Ole Miss, he is essentially telling his players, we are going to beat this SEC team, and by the way, we are outgrowing our current environment entirely.
Man.
It doesn't distract them. It breeds an aura of inevitability.
It totally reframes the Ole Miss game. It is no longer just a playoff game. It is an audition for their new reality.
Yeah, they aren't just playing to win. They are playing to graduate to the next level of competition.
And to graduate to that next level, a team has to survive the crucible. So for you listening, let's synthesize what we just witnessed today.
Let's do it.
This team walked into their own stadium and immediately got shocked by a chaotic 81% passing attack.
Yep.
They fell behind early and saw their elite defense just get sliced apart in space. But instead of panicking or abandoning their identity, they leaned into a punishing 250-yard ground game to control the clock and keep the opponent off the field. They utilized offensive efficiency to protect a reeling defense.
Exactly. And once that defense recalibrated and the defensive backs started pressing and trusting their eyes, they completely suffocated the opponent, sparking a 28-point unanswered run to secure the SBC championship.
An incredible adjustment.
And now, armed with a higher seed, they are marching into the playoffs to host Ole Miss with a ruthless physical game plan and a coach managing both the immediate tactical war and a decade-long program vision.
It really is a masterclass in adaptation under pressure.
It is. But before we wrap up, I want to leave you with one final thought to mull over, returning to that fascinating psychological decision from the second half.
Milestone.
Yes, the concept of discipline versus vanity. The coach benched his star running back, Deshaun Rear, exactly 2 yards short of a historic 2,000-yard season.
2 yards.
He stopped him at 1,998 yards, simply to ensure he was fully healthy for the playoff game. It raises a question for you to explore on your own. In your own life, when you are building something truly great, are you willing to sacrifice a massive, visible personal milestone today just to guarantee you have the strength to win the ultimate championship tomorrow?
The choice between looking great in the moment and securing a legacy that lasts.
When the stats fade, what are you actually building? Until next time, keep diving deep.